Hey folks, Jonathan here. I wanted to show you a few things on my forklift here. Getting ready to put these new seal in. That was on there, and right here's the issue. Hopefully you can see that. It's so bright out here. That is what the problem was and why my forklift was leaking down. Okay, the way this works, there's a plate on this side. This is going to be the bottom, so it's going to face up like this, and you're going to be pumping fluid from the bottom up through it. And what's happened is the plate that's under it has a little hole in it that lets the fluid go up inside in this valley here. And when it hits this valley, it pushes it into the cylinder, plus it pushes it out to the cylinder wall, and then of course pushes up on it. And that's why your cylinder goes up, and this is what keeps it from leaking past. So what we're putting back in, we just done the measurements on it, and here's a poly pack, and this particular one comes with an O-ring inside. Now, I don't know how many times I've taken these O-rings completely out and just done away with them. I'm going to do it on this one because if you look at the diameter, it looks a little tight. Even though it measures out right, it's going to be hard to get together without messing it up. So let me pop this O-ring out real quick. And looks just like the one that come out. Now that'll give us a little bit more freedom to get it in there without tearing anything up. We'll grease it up really well. But it works, you know, it's the same situation. When the fluid goes up in, it actually expands the seal both ways, toward the wall and toward the shaft. So that's what keeps this thing sealing. And when you do something like this and you're matching it up to the machine, the smart thing to do is get two of them. So we've got one we can put in the hardware store and one that I can put up, and you know, I don't know how long we're going to have this machine, but I can always label this, you know, that it goes with my Clark forklift, and maybe it'll get stuck with it later. But I mean, $9.95 I think is what these were a piece, so I'd rather have an extra one. So we're going to get that thing together, see what we can do. Alright, here's our packing on. As you can see, there's a little hole here, and it goes all the way through. Helps add, you know, put the fluid pressure to that seal. Also, it can leak past here and get to it. But that's all there is to it, you know, just one seal. It's not a whole lot different on a two-way cylinder. There might be two of these. One facing one way, one facing the other. But this is the same seal that they use on the inside of the glands also as a seal to when you got pressure on the shaft to keep it from leaking. But this is a one-way cylinder, so there's only pressure on the bottom side. And if you got pressure coming out of the top side, you know that that's the problem. And that was what happened, is that seal cracked, and that's what started. So we're going to pick this thing up. We're going to grease it up really well. The top of the board's got a little bit of a taper to it to help you set it down in. I'll take the crane and get it close, and then I'll do it by hand. All right, I can't see up there, but I'm going to try to show you the little bit of taper in the top of that cylinder. Should be able to see it. Just a little bit, just enough to help us out get the seal in. All right. Well, there we go. We got her started. Bring her down in, and should be good to go. All right, folks, we got it back together. Well, I got the hat back on, and now we got to put the chains on, but I had to pick up this first. I had to move this thing to get the crane up here and the steam engine, so the block I had under it was no longer there. So I am going to try to get these chains up on them wheels, and then there's two set screws that go in here. I'll show you in just a minute. And they just keep the chains from popping off. And I've got one little spacer up there, but once we get it done, we'll raise it up and then we can take all this out. All right, here's the piece I was talking about, and these just keep that chain from being able to come off them pulleys. I think we're good. Chains are tight. I got to adjust this nut up It's never been adjusted up. And I thought maybe it was froze, but it turns good, so it's just a safety. So let me see. We didn't change anything, we didn't adjust anything. It should work just fine, I'd hope. And everything seems to be okay. We need to, okay, the reason I know why, it looks like it's up just a little tiny bit. I'm talking about a ½ inch or so, and it's because of that right there. So let's see if we can start her up. They're holding. They're not falling down like they were. Much nice. All right, folks, we'll have to do some testing on it, but I think she's good to go. There we are, just like it's supposed to work. I'm liking it. All right, now that the forklift's done, next up is the starter again on this truck. Now, I actually put this starter together and put it on there recently. And when I say recently, I said about 2 weeks ago. And if you can hear that, the Bendix has come apart. So that means it's time to unhook the batteries, pull the starter. I've got a new starter. I bought a bunch from U-Haul because of course this is a U-Haul truck. I had bought a bunch of starters from U-Haul and didn't realize that I wasn't out. I thought I was out of them. I took a bunch of junk parts and put together, and the Bendix was actually rusted a little bit, and the housing and everything, so I thought it would be okay. But anyway, it's not. The Bendix just went to crap on it. And I've got the old starter that I had on this thing that the Bendix is just fine, and the starter's just gotten weak over time. I've used it a lot of years. So now we're just going to go ahead and put the rebuilt one on it, and then we'll save this one. We'll take the Bendix out of the other one and put in this one. And I don't think it would have messed up too much anyway. But yeah, I think the Bendix has just come to pieces is what's happened on this one. So we'll look at it here in a few minutes when I get it out. Okay, folks, the first thing you do is unhook your battery. If you don't unhook your battery and you go ahead and start working on it, you're probably drunk and you need to go back in the house and go to bed. Come back tomorrow. Now, the only good part about doing this same job over and over and over again on the same, well, not necessarily the same truck, but the same style truck, is I know what tools I need. I need a 1/2 inch 12 point for the 3 bolts holding the starter on. I need a 3/8 for the small nut on the solenoid, and I need a 3/4 for the big nut. There's a lot of wires on this thing, and this is a big, heavy starter. Same, like, you know, it's an MT40, I think, or 3540. It's a big starter. All right, folks, I got really lucky that my flywheel is not bad. You see what this happened? This happened while I was out running. This Bendix is not freewheeling one way, so what it done was lock up and come out, and it just ate the teeth off of it. But believe it or not, I think the flywheel looked just fine. It didn't look bad, let's put it that way. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Don't know. Not much room in this thing, believe it or not. See if I can get you closer. A little shiny on the outside, but that's about it. So we're gonna put another one on it. we'll see how she starts. What it was is I was able to buy a bunch of these starters at about $50 a piece with brand new relays on them. And the solenoids themselves, they was wanting $120 a piece for. So I went ahead and bought, I think, 5 or 6 of them starters. And like I said, I didn't think I had any left, but I do have one left in there. But I think I robbed the starter solenoid off. So we can take this one and put it right on there, because this is actually a new one that I put on a few weeks ago. So yeah. Anyway, this one, it's shot. I'll show you what I mean by freewheeling. So here's what it's supposed to look like, and this is the starter that went bad on us. And as you can see, it freewheels that way, but it don't the other way, and it's kicked back farther. So anyway, I don't know what the Rockwell hardness is on this gear. I would think they would make it a little bit lighter than what the flywheel ring gear is, but just for this reason. But I don't think there's any problems with the flywheel. The taper's right here, so we'll know here shortly. But this is a good Bendix I can put back in that starter and save for later. So here's our rebuilt unit. Been in the plastic for a long time, and it looks like 2007 is when it was rebuilt. So we'll get the Bendix on it, the solenoid on it, see what we can figure out. All right, I think we're ready to go in. So this one here, I don't think this one's the 58 pounds that the one on the Detroit was, but it's not a light starter. So anyway, I'm gonna fight it in there, go ahead and get her hooked up, and we're gonna see if this thing will start. All right, folks, let's hook her battery back up. So she's either gonna grind real bad or she's gonna start. One or the other. There we go. Running like a new one. All right, one more job done. It's beautiful here.